Welcome to Pick Up and Deliver, the podcast where I pick up my audio recorder as I drop my son off for the bus and deliver an episode to you while I walk around. I'm Brendan Riley. Well, good morning, listeners. It is a brisk February day here in suburban Chicago. The temperature has turned down a bit again. I'm back to my bigger overcoat, and I just dropped my son off to wait for the bus, and I'm taking a short walk before I head home to do a day's remote work. Well, we tried a new game this weekend that I thought would make for a fun episode as I talk about my favorite weird and wacky, crazy behavior games. I don't know a category for these. They're not really dexterity game. Well, anyway, I'm gonna talk about them, talk about what I like about them, and lay these out for you. I'll start with the new game I played. The new game I played is called Call of the Wild. I heard about this from Crystal Crystal Dax, I think is her name, on Board Game Blitz. I think she tweeted about it maybe, or maybe she mentioned it on Board Game Blitz. I backed the Kickstarter, but it did not fund. But then the designer of the Kickstarter sent out an update saying they had 120 copies that they had made as prototypes to get ready for the Kickstarter, and that they were selling those. So I got myself a copy of the game. It comes in this tiny little box, maybe a little bit bigger than one of the, it's like smaller than Skull, but bigger than a Button Shy wallet. Smaller than Rainbow Nights. I know you don't have that one, but all right. So Call of the Wild is I don't know what you call it, weird behavior game. Each player gets a deck of 10 cards, give or take. And on those cards, you have an animal. There are 5 fictional animals, and each one has a predator and a prey in the ecosystem. They're rendered in a circle on the card with the one that you are actually holding bigger in the middle, and all the others in a clockwise circle around the card. And the idea is that one of the creatures has another creature that it's prey and another creature that's its predator. And your goal is to either find and mate have your creature find and mate with another creature of the same type, or find and eat a creature who is its prey, but you're supposed to avoid creatures that are your predator. So the way it works is each creature has a call. That's why the game's called Call of the Wild. So like there's one creature, they all have names, but I can't remember the names, they're all made up. But one of the creatures, its call is Chi-Chi. So the idea is if you have that creature in your hand, you could call out Chi-Chi, like that creature making a mating call. Chi-Chi, Chi-Chi. And then another player who also has that card could call out Chi-Chi, Chi-Chi. And then if you match with them, you slide your card toward them, they slide their card toward you. You flip each other's card over, and if they're both the Chi-Chi creature, then you take the other person's card and put it in your score pile. You now scored a point. However, you could also, if you got the Chi-Chi card, you could make the sound that the Chi-Chi card's prey makes. Buzz, buzz. So there's this bug creature that the Chi-Chis eat. And I know they're not called Chi-Chis. Again, I can't remember the names of them. They're all made up. But there's this bug creature that the Chi-Chis eat. So you could call out buzz, buzz, like you're a Chi-Chi pretending you're making the mating call of the buzzing thing. And something else could be calling buzz, buzz. And so you trade with them. And if you're a Chi-Chi and they're a buzz, buzz, you get their card, but you keep yours also. You've now earned 2 points. However, maybe they're calling buzz, buzz, and they're actually the Chi-Chi's predator. And they're calling buzz, buzz to attract a Chi-Chi because they know Chi-Chis hunt by following the buzz, buzz sound. So it gets into these super mind games where you're trying to think 2 or 3 layers out to figure out what predator or prey is the person pretending to be so that you can eat them. If you end up not being right next to each other on the predator-prey wheel, both cards are discarded, neither person gets a point at all, so you also have to be careful of that. And so it's really fun. Everybody's making one of these 5 sounds. There's Chi-Chi, buzz, buzz, haroom, and then like 2 more. And you play quickly. As soon as one person has gone through all their cards, the game stops and you count points and you win. So I guess I'm not sure what you'd call this kind of game, except to say that this kind of game ends when somebody has gone through their cards, because that actually is the unifying fact in 3 of the 4 games I'm going to talk about today. Is this idea that you each have your own deck, and once you've gone through your deck, then the game is over. Okay, so that's the That's Call of the Wild. That's a new one that just came out recently. If you're interested in that, you have to buy it directly from the publisher. I'm sure you can find a link if you Google Call of the Wild Kickstarter. You can find the update where they posted the link to buy the game. You just PayPal them the money and they mail it to you. There are a couple other games that I really enjoy that use very similar mechanisms. The first of these is Happy Salmon. Happy Salmon is the granddaddy of all goofy exhaust your deck games. In Happy Salmon, you are trying to exhaust your deck, just like in Call of the Wild. But in Happy Salmon, you're exhausting your deck, and your goal is to find someone else who's making the same hand motion as you. And there are 4 hand motions that you can make, and the idea is that you're trying to pair up with somebody else. So you have a card with these 4 different you have a deck of cards with these 4 different hand motions on it, and your goal is to get someone else to make the hand motion with you. There's like fist bump, there's one where you trade spots in the circle. I can't remember what the third one is, and then the fourth one is Happy Salmon, which is this sort of goofy, sort of proto handshake thing. And when you do one of it's high five. That's one of them. So basically you have a high five card and you're like, high five, high five, high five. If you get someone else who has a high five card, they'll high five you and you drop that card and it's out of your deck. First person to get through their whole deck wins. It's very silly, very fast, super fun. It is absolutely the kind of game when you show it to people, they want to play 2 or 3 times, then they're good for a year or whatever. It is a perfect getting people to know each other game. Lots of goofy stuff to do with it. It's a real fun time. So that's Happy Salmon. Happy Salmon, I think, is the best of these games. It is very silly, easy to teach, plays really quick, comes in a cute neoprene salmon, or it did. I know that they're republishing it. I think that Exploding Kittens bought it, maybe, or is bringing it out, the company that does Exploding Kittens, and their new line does not come in a neoprene fish. So I think it's definitely a downgrade from the North Star Games edition. But that's Happy Salmon, real delight. Definitely worth a look if you get a chance to play. All right, on to the third game of, doing stuff and trying to get people to match. What do you call this genre? Head over to Board Game Geek Guild 3269 and join the conversation there. I want to know what you call these kind of games. And also the question is like, would you put all these games into one category? I think of them as games where you're doing funny stuff. And I didn't really realize till I started talking about that 3 of the 4 were games that you do funny stuff till you run out of your deck. And that the speed part is one of the goals, or is the main goal. So the third one I want to talk about is actually 2 different games, but I bought them both and put them in the same box because that's exactly how they should be stored, I think. And this is Dude, and its sequel, More Dude. So in Dude, it's the game where you say dude. The way this works is you have a little deck of cards. In Dude, you have, I think, 5 different ways of writing the word dude. Like there's one where the word dude is written very small, and another one where the word dude is on a sort of tie-dye background, and one where the word dude is written D-U-U-U-U-U-U-D-E, and one is written D-E-W-D, right? So there's a bunch of different ways of writing the word dude. And then you shuffle up your own little deck, and you look at the first card, and you say dude in the way that you think the card says you should say dude. Then, meanwhile, everyone else at the table is also saying dude in some way. And if you think the other person at the table is saying dude with the same card as you're saying dude, you point at them and you say sweet, and they say sweet. And then, or not, they might say no. But if you say sweet and they say sweet, then you show each other your cards. If they have the same card you do in hand, then you both score that card and you put it in front of you as a success. If they do not have the same card that you do, then you put it in the middle as a fail, and then you get your next card. And I forgot to mention this Happy Salmon, but with Dude, it works the same way. With both Happy Salmon and Dude, if you have been saying dude or doing the Happy Salmon motion, high five, and no one is responding, you can always take that card and put it on the bottom of your deck and draw a new card, because you might just not be matching with somebody right now. Dude is really funny because, of course, you have everybody saying dude in a bunch of funny ways around the table. However, it's very samey. It's the same 5 dude cards every time. So if you play 2 or 3 times in a row, pretty much everybody figures out how to say dude in a way that matches the card, and it becomes very easy to read the word dude in the way that other people are saying it. And so I'm not sure how much you'd want to keep playing the original Dude game as a series of games, which is why having More Dude is awesome. Because in More Dude, again, they're saying the word dude. It's usually written in an interesting way, but they also have a little illustration. So there's a ghost saying dude, and a sort of stereotypical pizza parlor logo mascot saying dude, and a surfer guy saying dude, and a cowboy saying dude, right? So there's a bunch of different characters saying dude, which means that when you go and say play the second game, you're now embodying that character. You have a different set of clues about how you should say dude and what you should do to get people to match with you. It's the gameplay is the same otherwise. You just have this different mechanism of pictures instead of words. That one works really well as a two game thing. It takes about 15 minutes for both games together and the teach. And when you're all done, you've now played a sort of hilarious game. You're ready for something a bit deeper in the game sphere. And just overall, it's a perfect amount of a game to play, to have a little bit of silliness, but also get a lot of fun. Once again, though, not a game I'd play 5 times in a row. I think, twice is probably good, and you can put it away for 6 months. And it's one of those games that it's fun to get out occasionally. I'll often bring it to family events or something. Now, both Dude, all 3 of these games that I've mentioned so far, only play 6. So I'm not sure why 6 is the number there, but because you have to have your own deck, they come with 6 cards, and that's how many they play. So the last game I want to mention is a bit of one of these things that's not like the other element, because it is not, in fact, a game where you have your own deck. It is a game of doing silly stuff, and to me it feels very much like these other games, but it is a little bit longer, a little bit more complex. Definitely if those are gateway goofy games, this is a level 2 goofy game. This is a game I've talked about recently. I feel it for the first time a few months ago. This is Bunny Bunny Moose Moose. So Bunny Bunny Moose Moose is a game from Vlaada Chvátil, the designer of Codenames and Dungeon Pets and Through the Ages. And it is a goofy party game. In this game, you have one person on I think it's still 6 players though. Interesting. In this game, you have one person on the poem side of the table and the other up to five people, and the other up to 5 people on the animal side of the table. The way it works is you're going to hold your hands up by your head, and you're going to hold them up as though you're doing bunny ears or you're doing moose antlers. And then there's a variety of ways that you can hold your bunny ears. They're either in the front of your head or in the side of your head. And the ears are either pointed up or sort of flapping down. And you can do that with the moose antlers as well. And the idea is the player who is there's a poem, a hunting poem. What they're doing is, as they're reading each line of the poem, they're putting out a card, and that card shows a scoring condition related to ears and antlers. So it'll show like rabbit ears that are sticking up are worth +1 point. Moose antlers that are pointing down are worth -1 point. And so you have to pick as you're playing. Are you going to be a bunny or are you going to be a moose? And where do you want your ears or antlers to be? And are they pointing up or down? So there's a big mix of things that you have to know. And basically the person reads a poem and puts out these cards in real time. So the cards are coming out every couple seconds, and you're constantly changing how you're holding your hands to be moose ears or bunny ears until a hunter sign comes out and everyone freezes and you all score based on the cards. Like I said, it feels like those other games because it's silly. It has you doing silly things. It's a ridiculous theme. The big difference is that unlike those other games, this game has fairly complicated rules and takes a while. You're going to play Bunny Bunny Moose Moose. You're going to play I think the idea is you play 2 rounds per player. Each person's going to do the poem twice. So the game might take 20 minutes, which is a lot longer than 1 round of any of the other games. Now you could kind of argue that 1 round of Bunny Bunny Moose Moose, where one person reads the poem, is very similar to a round of these other games, but that's not true either. It's much shorter than those other games would be. So it's kind of in the middle ground. But I put it in the same category because it is a game that involves sort of completely unusual mechanisms, being silly or acting silly, and a clear winner. One of the things that there are some games that have a kind of silly activity, but then the score doesn't really matter. You don't really win. But definitely in Happy Salmon, winning matters. In Dude, winning matters. People really care about whether they're the ones who got rid of their deck first or not. And in Bunny Bunny Moose Moose, you're trying to get a good score. So there's a lot going on with this kind of game, but I enjoy them a lot, and I keep them in my collection because they're easy to play, they're fun to get out, and now that I have like 4 of them, I feel like I'm getting close to being able to do a day in my class where we play these ridiculous games. I hope so, because that would be a good time. Also, these games are not very COVID friendly, but with masks on, we can do it maybe. So anyway, do you have any games like this in your collection? If so, what are they? Why do you enjoy them? And are there any I'm missing? I would love to have 1 or 2 more games in this sort of flavor. Head over to Board Game Geek Guild 3269 and let me know. If you'd like to send me a direct message, you can email me, brendan@rattleboxgames.com, or send me a geek mail message to wombat929 on Board Game Geek. That's my username there. And let me know what goofy games you like to play. Thanks for joining me on my walk today. I hope that your next walk is as pleasant as mine was. Bye-bye.
Brought to you by Rattlebox Games.